be requesting for a statement on the implementation of Shirika Plan and its effect on the refugees and host communities. And this request for statement on refugee host communities and Shirika Plan will be responded to by the Committee on Administration and Internal Security. Equally, the Committee on Internal Security will be handling yet another statement from Honorable Engineer Zambia, this being the MP for Kilome. His statement that he'll be seeking this afternoon is on the review of fees for registration and re-registration of alteration of birth certificates. Honorable Thaddeus Zambia, the MP for Kilome, wants the committee to liaise with the Ministry of Interior and provide answers on the review for fees on registration, re-registration, and alteration of birth certificates. Honorable Abdi Ali, the Member of Parliament for Ijara, will be seeking for a statement this afternoon on the attack on herders in Kirunjo area in Hulugo Ward in Ijara constituency by KDF officers. The request for statement by Honorable Abdi Ali, the Member of Parliament for Ijara, on the attack on herders in Kirunjo area in Ijara constituency. Allegedly, this attack being done by KDF officers will be handled by the House Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations. The Committee on Finance and National Planning will be handling yet another statement this afternoon. This request for statement is by Honorable Susan Ngugi. This is the county MP for Tharaka Nithi County on stalled payment of pension for former councillors. Honorable Abdul Haro, the Member of Parliament for Mandera South, will be requesting for a statement on the status of representation of ethnic communities in the appointments in the public service. These appointments range from the financial year 2022-2023 and 2023 and 2024. The status on the representation of ethnic communities, on how different Kenyans from various ethnic communities have been appointed in the Public Service Commission or through the Public Service Commission, is a statement that will be sought by MP for Mandera South, and the answers in regards to ethnic distribution of appointments in public offices will be handled by the Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity. Honorable Aidan Kainan is the last member, and order number 7 on statements, who will be requesting for a statement on the progress on tamaking of the Wajir, Grief 2, Eldas, Buna, Bute, Moyale, all the way to Ethiopia A1 Road. And this statement by Honorable Aidan Kainan on the tamaking of the road from Wajir all the way to Moyale, ending in Ethiopia, will be handled by the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure. If you're just joining us this afternoon, the business of the National Assembly is just about to commence as the Sergeant at Arms, as you can see on your screens, carrying the mace, closely followed by the Speaker of the House, Honorable Moses Wetangula, in the chambers this afternoon. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing and have yourself a great afternoon.
Mheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetoa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tunakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi hii yetu, na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell.
Well, the business of the National Assembly has just commenced this afternoon, and upon the commencement of the business of the House, we have the quorum bell on ring mode as directed by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, who has directed the Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes. And this directive on the quorum bell ringing for 10 minutes is guided by the House standing orders upon the commencement of the House. As we await for members of Parliament to make their way into the chamber this afternoon, allow me to take you through the businesses in the order paper. The signals from the chamber indicate the quorum has been achieved. Allow me to hand you over.
Clerk, call the orders.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable Mulher, take the nearest seat. Honorable members, I have a statement, a short one, on the demise of His Holiness Pope Francis, the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order 259 D1, I wish to report to the House the demise of His Holiness Pope Francis, the Supreme Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. I do so with profound sadness as we all solemnly reflect on this passing on of the pontiff, which occurred on Easter Monday, 20th April 2025, at his residence in the Casa Santa Mara at the Vatican. As members of parliament, we join the global community in mourning a shepherd of extraordinary humility, compassion, and conviction. Born George Mario Bacololio on 17th December 1936 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Pope Francis was the son of Italian immigrants and grew up in a modest household. He was initially trained as a chemist, but later answered the call to priesthood and joined the Society of Jesus Jesuits in 1958. He was ordained as a priest in 1969 and rose through the ranks, with distinction serving as provincial superior of the Jesuits in Argentina and later as the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. His pastoral heart, concern for the poor, and deep commitment to social justice was evident throughout his ministry. Honorable members, on 13th March 2013, Mario was elected the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, the first Jesuit, the first person from the Americas, and the first pontiff to take the name Francis in honor of St. Francis of Assisi. His papacy was marked by a relentless pursuit of mercy, social justice, and global dialogue. Pope Francis stood as a moral compass during times of global uncertainty, championing the causes of the downtrodden, reconciliation, and environmental stewardship. He often called upon world leaders to uphold the dignity of all human beings and the sanctity of creation. His landmark encyclicals and tireless pilgrimages touched the lives of millions and inspired generations towards unity, humility, and service. Honorable members, the late Pope Francis will also be remembered for his reformative vision within the church, his efforts to modernize and humanize church doctrine, and his outreach to youth and future generations. In Kenya, his legacy remains visible through strengthened interfaith relations, charitable missions, and spiritual guidance to millions of faithfuls. The words of his powerful quote, and I quote, "The church is like a field hospital, heals the wounds and warms the hearts, helps build bridges between people and not build walls between people," are not just a metaphor, but a mission he lived daily, reaching out across borders, faiths, and ideologies to bind wounds and inspire hope. Pope Francis passed away on Easter Monday, a poignant and symbolic day in the Christian calendar, embodying the message of resurrection and peace that he so faithfully preached. Honorable members, to the Catholic faithful around the world and in our own country, including yours truly, we offer our deepest condolences. We honor his legacy and we pray for the repose of his soul. May his life messages continue to guide leaders, nations, and people towards justice, humility, and compassion. As the world mourns his colossal loss, honorable members, let us be reminded by his example of the enduring power of servant leadership and the call to build bridges and not walls. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And I now ask you to be upstanding. For a minute's silence. May the soul of Papa Francisco rest in eternal peace. Amen. Yes, Owen?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I want to join you and the rest of the Catholic faithfuls and in the globe to mourn the passing on of a great man, a great pontiff, a man who taught the world that building bridges was a better thing in the world. Honorable Speaker, that message of Pope Francis should resonate in the world, and that everybody should pick it, because as we live in this world, we need each other and we need one another to build a more cohesive and beautiful world. Honorable Speaker, I went to Vatican once. I looked forward to meeting the Pope. Unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity. It was one of those moments in my life that I waited for, to meet the pontiff, shake his hand and get his blessings. Honorable Speaker, I didn't get that opportunity. But it's one of the things that I looked for in my life. But I know you did.
Yes.
And probably you carried my blessings. I need to shake your hand. To
they will reach you by osmosis.
Thank you. So, Honorable Speaker, we've lost a great leader in the world. The Pope is not just the leader of the Catholic, but he's the leader of this world. And therefore, I want to join the Catholics and Christians in the world to emulate, and other leaders to emulate the spirit of Pope Francis, to continue to build bridges and not walls. You can see in this country, as the president works, he's trying to build bridges all over, Honorable Speaker, so that we can have a more cohesive nation, more cohesive Kenya, in the spirit of Pope Francis. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I condole and pray that God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Bukose?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, we refer to you as Papa wa Roma. And being a Catholic, I think this is a big loss to all of us in the Catholic fraternity. And I want to join you and the rest of the Catholics in Kenya to mourn the passing on of Papa Francis on the Monday last week. Honorable Speaker, we strive to build bridges and not walls between people. I think that's a very significant message, that we should not just take it literally, but be embodied as a Christian community. And therefore, may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you. Koyo?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to send my condolences to the fallen Pope. I am a Catholic by Christianity faith, and the Pope excited us because of many of the popes we have had. This one was real embodiment of real Christianity, man who practiced a lot of simplicity and sagacity, and throughout his life, he preached about equality. He was very much committed to the position of the downtrodden, and he taught us that it doesn't mean anything to own everything in this earth and throw your soul to hell. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Mayaka?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, for my own self as a Catholic faithful, and to all the Catholics who are here, I would like to share my most sincere condolences. Also on behalf of all the Catholic faithfuls from Nyamira and the entire Gusii region, Pope Francis will be remembered as a Pope who was a people person, a people servant, and a Pope who really believed in standing for the downtrodden. We are told that one of his last words when he was passing on, Honorable Speaker, is that the Pope told the health care person who was taking care of him, thank you. We will always remember him as someone who was ready to intervene in matters that really affected the downtrodden. So once again, on my own behalf and on behalf of the Catholic faithfuls, is to say Pole, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not Catholic, but I have friends who are Catholic, the likes of Father Ben from Karatina, Father Kamwaro, Father Kimani, and the rest. I join them, Mr. Speaker, to send my condolences following the passing on of Papa Francis, a humble man we all should emulate, and we offer our condolences to the entire Catholic fraternity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hope now that for the 267th election, it's my hope that we will get an African Pope. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also pass my condolences on my behalf and on the behalf of my constituents of Moibin. The Pope, the late Pope, was a very inspirational person. Mr. Speaker, I personally had a privilege to go to Rome last year, and we were with our right speaker, and I had a privilege to shake his hand. And he is a symbol of humility. Mr. Speaker, when he came to Kenya, he did not just choose to go and stay in the high places, but he chose to go and worship in the most humble place, and that is Kangemi. And that is why we remember him for the great humility he had. And on behalf of myself, my family, my parish, Eldoret Parish, I say Pole.
Thank you. Nguna?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to join our colleagues and also the Catholics across the world to convey my deepest sympathy to the entire Catholic Church, the family and friends of Pope Francis. Mr. Speaker, you recall very well last year I was with you in Rome, Vatican, and we visited Pope, and that was my third time to meet Pope and shake his hand, Mr. Speaker. I noticed he's a very good man who championed actually climate justice. And he was a man full of humility, love of humanity, and the world reforms, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of Mwingi West and my family, I would like to say that let Papa Francis rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Murugara.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not a Catholic, but the Catholic Church, actually it's called the Holy Roman Catholic Church, is quite close to my heart because of the good deeds this church continues to do, not just in Kenya, but everywhere in the world. And this is a very solemn occasion when we have to mourn the passing on of the leader of the church, His Holiness the Pope. Mr. Speaker, Pope Francis will be remembered for his humility, his love for the poor, and the justice to everybody. And most importantly, is the way he went around doing his work, and especially when he visited the country. We were privileged and honored because it is not usual to have the Pope here. I remember him for the last thing he did for this country and for our people from the greater region of Meru, Tharaka Nithi and Meru counties, because our bishop has just retired or is about to retire, and he appointed another gentleman who actually shares a name with me, Father Jackson Murugara, to become the bishop of the Diocese of Meru. Another great gentleman who is very humble, is very a humble person who actually carries himself just in the character of Father Pope Francis. May the soul of this great man rest in everlasting peace.
Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Ndewa community, and most of them Catholics, and on my behalf and family, Mr. Speaker, one thing I admire the Pope, and I want to say the power of humility and service. He served to the last minute, even when he was ill health. That should be admired. May the Lord Almighty comfort all the Catholic faithfuls and emulate what Pope was really practicing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Daud?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to convey my condolences together with my constituents of North Imenti and the Diocese of Meru to the whole fraternity of the Catholic Church. Mr. Speaker, the Catholic Church, we have from my parents, we have dealt with the Catholic Church for over 70 years in Meru County and the larger Meru County, Tharaka Nithi as well. So I wish to give my condolences. And Pope Francis was a uniting figure. He went to the other religions as well, worked well with the Muslim religion as well to cooperation and all the other for peace and that. So may God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Tigania West, I stand to eulogize with all the Catholic fraternity, Honorable Speaker, for the loss of the hand of the church. Honorable Speaker, I have friends in the Catholic Church. I may not be a Catholic, but I have friends like the newly inaugurated Daokesan Bishop Murugara. Honorable Speaker, also we have Father Kinoti, Father Clement, and others, Father Machali, and so on, who are really good in their work and doing a great job to develop this country. Honorable Speaker, Father, the Holy Pope was integrative. Was not only integrative, he was a humble person. His humility spread across. When he visited Kenya, he did not just sit with the Catholics. He sat with all denominations, and he was able to integrate to show that when it comes to matters going to heaven, it takes everyone. The root doesn't matter. What matters is being right with God. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of my people, I do eulogize with the Catholics and pray that his soul rests in eternal peace. Thank you.
Pasaris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to convey my deep sorrow and profound gratitude as I join the faithfuls around the world in mourning the passing of Pope Francis, a shepherd who led with humility, courage, and boundless love. Pope Francis showed us that faith and conscience are not at odds, but together are a path to authentic discipleship. He reminded us that the heart of the gospel is mercy, justice, and dignity of every person. As someone who believes that conscience is sacred and that love must always be our guide, I found Pope Francis to be a true reflection of Christ's compassion. Today we give thanks to the Almighty for his life, his teaching, and his witness. May his soul rest in eternal embrace of the God we serve so faithfully. May we honor his memory by knowing that love is stronger than judgment and inclusion is deeper than fear. Mr. Speaker, I've seen a lot of people on social media, the ones who have no respect, actually painting a picture that shows that they have no respect for a man who lived with God and ruled over 2 billion people as a spiritual leader. By putting Raila's image and putting Raila in pop clothes, I think that is so disrespectful. I want to tell our Gen Zs out there, there are those of you who stand for certain values, and we respect you for your values, but do not allow those values to be undermined by those that have no respect. You should have respect for Raila Odinga, and you should have respect for the 2 billion Catholics, and you should have respect for the Pope, who has not even been laid to rest, and you use his death as a mockery. It's something that you should be ashamed of. So let us hold each other with respect and dignity, because if we fail to do that, then you are actually a lost soul. We need to actually honor the people that we have in this world that do good. And Raila Odinga is one of them, and our Pope is another. And there are many others like that. So please, let us have respect and decorum when we are mourning somebody of such high astute and respect across the globe. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Namwar.
Thank you, Speaker. Together with the people of Turkana Central and the Diocese of Lodwar, Honorable Speaker, this is a moment in which we remember the Pope and together with the Church in the tremendous things that the Catholic Church has done in Turkana. And during this moment, we send our condolences all over and together with fellow Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, the life of Pope Francis is akin to the people from the north, those who are pastoralists. And when Pope Francis accepted to take very menial jobs, like being a bouncer, he was able to understand the challenges that people, the human beings, go through. Honorable Speaker, he lived by it. And when Pope was able to travel, even to Asia, to countries in Europe, he was able to identify with the poor. Here in Kenya, when he came, he identified with those who are in the slums. In fact, he advocated for the housing improvement. He even advocated for good neighborliness and love for those who are poor. And he was able to say, those who live in slum areas are able to exhibit the attributes of Jesus. Honorable Speaker, I know this is a time when we are looking for another pope, but to us, we want somebody who can be able to broker for diplomatic relations, like how Pope Francis did for Cuba and the US. And when he was visiting the Palestinians and even the Arab countries, he was able to identify with the faith of the Islamic religion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Ndia, then Milemba. Ndia, GK.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. I rise to join millions across the globe in mourning the passing on of the Holy Father. Honorable Speaker, the Holy Father was a symbol of humility, peace, and moral authority. Honorable Speaker, the Pope is one man who displayed a life that can inspire us leaders to focus on the common good, on the things that make the lives of our people better. So, Honorable Speaker, I, on behalf of the people of Dia, mourn the passing on of the Holy Father. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this chance. Let me take this opportunity to join the rest of ourselves and yourself to actually stand with all the Christians around the world, especially the Catholics, and say Paul for the loss of Pope Francis. The Catholic Church has been very, very great, and being the first church, it has had a lot of contribution to the world. The Catholic Church is the one that used to actually distribute kings in Europe, and it was actually the overall authority in Europe until when they did agree that it reduces itself to the Vatican, where the Pope now stands as the center of the Catholic Church. Otherwise, the Catholic Church has had a lot of influence, not just in religion, but also in the politics of the world and in Europe. In Kenya here, the Catholic Church has been very great in coming early to establish some of the first schools in this country, including Alliance High School and other schools, which have done very well. And indeed, the Catholic Church was a founder of education before the government went ahead to actually take over education. So on behalf of the people of Emuhaya and the Catholics of Emuhaya, especially Kalira, where I have a school that is being sponsored by the Catholic Church, I want to actually stand with those Catholics as they mourn the loss of Pope Francis. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Can we end here? For those who profess the Catholic faith, I will be going to the residence of the nuncio to sign the condolence book on Thursday at 9 a.m. You can get in touch with my office to tell you the assemble point, then we can all go together. Even you can come. When your spiritual leader passed on, we eulogize the same way here. So those who profess the faith and their friends on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pardon? Okay, next order. Before we call the next order, honorable members, allow me to acknowledge Chemilil Sugar School from Horoni, Kisumu in the public gallery. And in the speakers gallery, we have a delegation from the Parliament of Ghana. I wish to introduce to you 3 staff from the Parliament of Ghana who are seated in the speakers gallery. The officers are on a week-long benchmarking visit to Parliament, collaborating with our Directorate of Finance and Accounting to gain insights into best practices in expenditure tracking, resource mobilization, and other critical aspects of public financial management. Honorable members, on my behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to the House of Parliament and wish them fruitful engagements. In Ghana, they say midase. Thank you. Koyo. Give Koyo the mic. Mayaka, switch off your mic.
Switch off your. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome Chemilil Sugar School to Parliament. This serious school from my constituency is unfortunate they didn't arrange with my office, but I want to welcome them and urge them to look at the goings on in Parliament. Many of them are aspire to be politicians in future and to be serious Kenyans. So please take care, look at what is happening, and when you go back home, you now learn the ropes of what you intend to be in future, and learn to be responsible Kenyans. You know, I'm there for your help. This is a private school, but I've been of help to them when the company was not doing very well. I've been sponsoring many of them who excel to various secondary schools and high schools. Please feel welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Owen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Honorable Speaker, if you allow the Honorable Osoro, the Sairo, and to either go out, go to the chamber, and speak from there. They're distracting me. Starting order 1. Thank
I
you.
allow you to use the speaker's recess room for your lobbying.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take that again, Honorable Speaker. The following legal notice. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. A, the following legal notices from the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry. Honorable, these are important legal notices that I am taking. 1, legal notice number 62 of 2025 relating to sustainable waste management, extended producer responsibility, amendment number 2, regulations 2025. 2, legal notice number 63 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination, water quality, amendment number 2, regulations 2025. Honorable Speaker, these 2 gentlemen here.
Order.
I can't hear.
Order, members. Kimayo, take your seat.
Yes. I need to be heard
Order,
in silence.
honorable members. No Kamkunji is in the House.
Yes, thank you. 2, legal notice number 3, legal notice number 64 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination management, waste management, amendment number 2, regulations 2025. 4, legal notice number 65 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination management, sand harvesting, amendment number 2, regulations 2025. 5, legal notice number 66 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination management, air quality, amendment number 2, regulations 2025. 6, legal notice number 67 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination management, deposit bonds, regulations 2025. And 6, And 7, legal notice number 68 of 2025 relating to environmental management and coordination, access to biological resources and benefit sharing regulations 2025. B, 55th monetary policy statement for December 2024 from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. C, the Kenya Power and Lighting Company PLC audited financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024. D, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024 and certificates therein in respect of 1, Agricultural Finance Corporation, 2, Central Rift Valley Water Works Development Agency, Chama cha Uzalendo, Coast Development Authority, Commodities Fund Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme, Dedan Kimathi University of Technology, University, Egerton University Investment Company, Egerton University, Iwaso Nyiro South River Basin Development Authority, Financial Reporting Center, 12, Fund for Africa Private Sector Assistance Project, FAPA AFDP, grant number 570015503553, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. 13, Government Investment and Public Enterprises Revenue Statements, the National Treasury. 14, Higher Education Loans Board. 15, Institute of Human Resource Management. 16, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture Enterprise Limited. 17, Jomo Kenyatta University Agriculture Industrial Park Limited. 18, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture Noodles Limited. 19, Kenya Corporate Board. 20, Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. 21, Kenya Development Corporation. 22, Kenya Leather Development Council. 23, Kenya National Innovation Agency. 24, Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project, COSAP, SNV, credit number 6135, KE, State Department for Energy. 25, Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral and Research Hospital. 26, Kirinyaga University. 27, Maendeleo Democratic Party. 28, Management and Supervision Fund, State Department for Cooperative. 29, Masai University. 30, NAC Kenya Party. 31, National Cereals and Produce Board Staff House Mortgage Scheme. 32, National Exchequer Account, the National Treasury. 33, National Ordinary People Empowerment Union. 34, National Youth Council. 35, Office of the Controller of Budget Staff Retirement Benefit Scheme. 36, Office of the Registrar of Political Party Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme. 37, Party of Independent Candidates of Kenya. 38, Party of National Unity. 39, Policy Holders Compensation Fund. 40, Privatization Authority. 41, Pwani University. 42, Receiver Revenue Statements Development, the National Treasury. 43, Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology. 44, Rural Electrification Scheme, Kenya Power and Lighting Company PLC. State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. 46, St. Lawrence Egoji Teachers Training College. 47, Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme, Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. 48, Tambash Teachers Training College. 49, the Nyeri National Polytechnic. 50, Ubuntu People's Forum Party. 51, Unclaimed Assets Trust Fund. 52, United Party of Independent Alliance. 53, Wiper Democratic Movement. And 54, Honorable Speaker, Youth Enterprise Development Fund. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you, Owen. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations. Bashir, is your chairman here?
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 22nd April 2025. Report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations and its consideration of sessional paper number 1 of 2025 on the foreign policy of the Republic of Kenya. I thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on National Government Constituencies Development Fund, Sirma.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, the 22nd of April 2025. Report of the Committee on National Government Constituency Development Fund on the nominees to the National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees for 31 constituencies. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Royal Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on its consideration of the sessional paper number 1 of 2025 on the foreign policy of the Republic of Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 22nd April 2025. Thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on National Government Constituencies Development Fund, Sirma.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to give notice of motion to nominees to 31 National Government Constituency Development Funds committee's report. Honorable Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that this House adopts the report of the National Government Constituency Development Fund for 31 constituencies laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act, Cap 414A, and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations, Cap 414A, approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 31 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. 1. Awendo, Baringo North, Bumula, Changamwe, Emuhaya, Fafi, Garsen, Hamisi, Igembe Central, Kacheliba, Kiambu Town, Kipipiri, Kisumu Central, Kisumu East, Kitui East, Kitui South, Kitutu Chache North, Kitutu Chache South, Kuresoi South, Lunga Lunga, Machakos Town, Malindi, Manyata, Narok East, Narok North, Navokolo, Tigania East, Ugenya, Uriri, Wajia North, and Undanyi. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move. To give notice, sorry.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Bernard Kitur, Member Nandi Hills.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44(2)C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health, regarding the alarming rise of illegal organ harvesting, particularly kidney harvesting, in Eldoret City and its environs. Honorable Speaker, in June 2024, a distressing case was reported to my constituency office by Mrs. Leah Chepkorir. Ms. Leah Chepkorir regarding her 22-year-old son, Amon Kipruta Meli. According to the report, her son's kidney was harvested at Medihill Hospital after he was lured by the facility with an offer to donate the organ at the fee of 600,000 shillings. Thereafter, he developed medical complications associated with organ harvesting. Tragically, Mr. Kipruto now lives with a lifelong health challenges. He remains unproductive and dependent on continuous medical care, as his quality of life has been severely compromised. Subsequently, this incident was reported to Langas Police Station under OB number 41, dated 31st August 2024. In the report,
Amon alleged that he and other young men were first transported to Mombasa and thereafter smuggled across the border to a neighboring country in a series of suspicious meetings. This indicates the existence of not just a localized criminal operation, but a transnational organ trafficking syndicate. This is just one among many undocumented cases of illegal organ harvesting by a syndicate operating within our country and internationally. Multiple reports have implicated Medihill Hospital, which is claimed to be facilitating illegal kidney transplants and organ trafficking, raising significant concerns about possible collusion between the hospital and criminal syndicates who exploit medical infrastructure for illicit organ trade. Notably, on 18th April 2025, the founder of Medihill Hospital was suspended as the Biofax chair, pending investigations into allegations of illegal kidney transplant procedures at Medihill Hospital and Fertility Center in Eldoret. Honorable Speaker, the legal framework governing organ harvesting in Kenya is outlined in Section 80 of the Health Act, Cap 241. This legislation stipulates penalties of up to 10 million shillings or imprisonment for up to 10 years for organ harvesting or trafficking. However, these penalties appear insufficient to deter perpetrators of this illicit trade, which operates in secrecy and in cahoots with international syndicates. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health, addressing the following. Number one, the current status of investigations regarding the case of Amon Meli, reported at Langas Police Station. Number two, the scope and status of investigations into the allegations of illegal kidney harvesting by Medihill Hospital. Number three, the measures being implemented to ensure compliance with ethical standards and national laws reported regarding organ donations and transplants by healthcare institutions. Number four, a report on the identity and activities of both local and international criminal syndicates involved in illegal organ harvesting, including strategic initiatives undertaken to dismantle these networks. Number five, the protective measures being implemented to safeguard vulnerable populations from illegal organ trade. And number six, the comprehensive support framework established for victims and survivors of organ harvesting, including compensation, medical care, and counseling services, along with specific rehabilitation programs currently in place or planned for implementation. Mr. Speaker, this is a statement that I addressed last year, November 28th. And again, it has been appearing in the
You have
media.
resurrected it, and that is about all.
Thank
no
you.
more. Chairman Health, can you bring a response within the first week after recess?
Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that's important, and we'll endeavor to bring the report within the period you have indicated.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Daniel Nanok, Turkana West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the implementation of Shirika Plan and its effect on the refugee host communities. Honorable Speaker, Kenya has for many years upheld an open-door asylum policy, hosting over 700,000 refugees and asylum seekers, primarily from Somalia, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Majority of these refugees and asylum seekers reside in camps within Dadaab in Garissa County, Kakuma and Kalobeyei in Turkana County, while a few reside in Nairobi and other urban areas. The rights of these refugees are protected under the Refugee Act, Cap 173, which guarantees freedom of movement, the right to work, and access to financial services, among others. The Act also seeks to transition from a traditional camp-based model to one of local integration, empowering refugees to actively contribute to the socio-economic development of their host communities. Honorable Speaker, the government, in line with the Refugee Act Cap 173, has formulated a policy known as Shirika Plan, which is a multi-year initiative to promote the socio-economic inclusion of refugees in Kenya by transforming camps into integrated settlements within host communities for both refugees and asylum seekers. This policy was officially launched by His Excellency the President on 28 March 2025. While the plan is a progressive step toward refugee inclusion, it has sparked concerns over inadequate public participation and limited engagement with the host communities and its leaders, especially in Garissa and Turkana counties. In addition, host communities like those in Turkana West, which has accommodated refugees for over 33 years, now face fears of marginalization, increased pressure on already stretched services, and rising tensions due to lack of consultation. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. A report on whether the national government conducted public participation and sensitization on the Shirika Plan, including evidence of the activity and the extent to which it complies with Article 10(2)(a) and 232(1)(d) of the Constitution on involvement of the people in policy making. 2. Measures put in place to ensure that the Shirika Plan does not overstretch existing community resources, specifically with respect to infrastructure such as schools, health facilities, water supply and sanitation, and the strategies put in place to fund projects enhancing the socio-economic facilities of host communities. 3. Steps being taken to strengthen security, promote peaceful coexistence, and empower host communities throughout the implementation of the plan. 4. Clarification on terms used such as integration of refugees and host communities, and details on support mechanisms available to help refugees to become self-reliant, including how job opportunities are going to be structured to ensure equitable competition between host community members and refugees. 5, and final one, measures put in place to transition the refugees under the Shirika Plan, including the specific roles and contributions of key stakeholders such as the United Nations High Commission for the Refugees, UNHCR. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Nanok. Chair, Administration and Internal Security, Tongoyo, can you bring a response within the first week after recess?
Honorable Speaker, I just want clarification because I think the question is misplaced. According to our standing order, this question should be referred to the regional integration. The issue of Shirika Plan refugee had been taken away from my committee.
Refugees are under what ministry?
They are under regional integration, the Peter Locha Committee, Honorable Speaker.
Clark.
There is a confusion, I know, my committee. It's the whole confusion. It's like, of course, Honorable Speaker, the issue of prisons. It is under JLAC. So this is under Peter Locha. He can confirm the same, Honorable
Locha Kapong. Is your committee responsible for refugee issues?
Yes.
So we'll redirect the question to you. You bring a response within the first week after the recess.
Yeah, noted, and Honorable Speaker, my committee oversights matters refugee affairs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Engineer Zambia of Kilome.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 442C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding review of the registration, re-registration, and alteration fees for birth certificates. Honorable Speaker, on 26 September 2024, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration filed Ringo Notice 153 of 2024, announced revised fees for registration of birth certificates, births, filed Ringo Notice number 153 of 2024 as follows. 1. The registration of a birth more than 6 months after the date of birth increased from Kenyan shillings 100 to 500 shillings. 2. The registration of this name or alteration in the name of any child whose birth has previously been registered, the fee increased from Kenya shillings 40 to 1,000. 3, Honorable Speaker, making a correction in a birth entry, the fee increased from 40 shillings to Kenyan shillings 1,000. Birth certificate, the fee is 200. And 5, re-registration of a birth, the fee is 1,000. Honorable Speaker, the surge in birth certificate fees has created an unjust barrier for countless families, transforming a fundamental right into a privilege contingent on financial means. As a mandatory legal requirement, birth certificates serve as the cornerstone of identity without which children face exclusion from education, healthcare, social protection, perpetuating cycles of poverty and marginalization. When such essential civil documentation become inaccessible due to prohibitive costs, we fail in our constitutional duty to guarantee equal dignity and opportunity for all citizens. Honorable Speaker, further, birth certificates are obtained by visiting sub-county registrars, Huduma centers, or county civil registration services, CRS offices, a process that often requires families to travel long distances, incurring significant costs and time burdens. This challenge is even adverse in rural and unserved communities where registration centers are sparse and the transportation infrastructure is limited. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. Measures that the Ministry of Interior and Administration is putting in place to abolish the increased fees to ensure that birth certificates remain affordable to all citizens. 2, Honorable Speaker, plans put in place by the ministry to prioritize further decentralization of registration services, expanding mobile registration units, and leveraging digital platforms like eCitizen to streamline the applications and minimize fiscal travel requirements. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, steps being taken by the ministry to facilitate the implementation of Section 7.2 of the Children Act of 2022, which provides that every child has the right to be registered in the Registrar of Birth immediately after birth in accordance with the Birth and the Registration Act, Cap 149. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I think, Honorable Speaker, this is the same problem which Kenyan citizens had with the increased fees in identification cards. I think, Honorable Speaker, it will be very fair.
You are
also,
debating your statement.
Yes,
Once
thank you.
you make the statement is enough. Yes, Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to ride on Honorable Zambia's statement. Mr. Speaker, even as the chair responds, I would like him to also respond to my bill that I brought on birth and registration of children, Mr. Speaker, because I had brought a very important legislative proposal. We went to the budget committee. Maybe he can also brief the House on how far that bill is, because it will sort many of these issues that are being raised.
Thank you, Tongoyo. first week after recess.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, I can able to deliver first week as you directed after recess. But Honorable Speaker, I just want also to ride on what Wangare had talked about her bill. It is a very important bill. It is speaking to this, and I'm sure it's going to help us address such issues.
Thank you.
Also, Honorable Speaker, kindly, I think as much as we also address the issue of birth certificate, it's good to appreciate.
Order, Majority Whip. The work of the whip is not to whip violently.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I was just saying that as much as we also need to sort a statement on this and a response, we should appreciate the issue of the ID. You know, the Honorable member is the same member who did ask the issue of fees of the ID card, which the President had waived so far. On the same note, Honorable Speaker, you know, I did promise this House, I did commit it last week, that we were to sit down, call the CS to address the majority of the members' questions and statements. And I want to report that we had a very successful session, almost 2 hours, and we managed to exhaust about 11 questions, which I will probably tomorrow able to table on the floor of the House.
Very good.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Abdi Ali Abdi Ijara.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Defense and Intelligence and Foreign Relations regarding an attack on herders in Karunji area in Holugo Ward of Ijara constituency. Honorable Speaker, on March 23rd, 2025, a tragic incident occurred when officers of the Kenya Defense Forces, Special Forces, specifically the Long Range Surveillance Unit, LRS, ambushed and attacked a group of unarmed herders who had entered the fringes of Boni Forest in search of pasture for their livestock. The herders' move was necessitated by a severe drought crisis affecting the region, forcing them to seek alternative grazing areas for their livestock. The security personnel deployed excessive force and brutal assault, resulting in devastating consequences to the community and the tragic death of Mr. Abdi Sabdo Muhammad of ID number 20877833. Honorable Speaker, following the incident, 15 people were critically injured and several others, including women and children, remain unaccounted for. Also, over 5,000 heads of cattle were either scattered or driven deep into the Boni Forest, further threatening the survival of the affected families whose livelihood depend entirely on livestock. This incident has caused anxiety in the community, highlighting concerns about the use of force by security personnel and the need for a more nuanced approach to addressing security challenges in the region. Nomadic pastoralists in northern Kenya have traditionally relied on grazing routes during droughts, hence criminalizing their movement and responding with excessive force undermines their dignity, rights, and security, leaving them vulnerable and exposed. They now feel fear and betrayed, not from external threats, governments, forces they once trusted for protection and support whenever they faced severe drought. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Defense and Intelligence and Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations on the following. The operational mandate of the KDF, including whether the use of excessive force was authorized and justified, and the disciplinary measures against any officers for excessive force. The status of investigation into the Karunji attack and the operational conduct of the KDF special forces involving in the incident. Plans being put in place
to provide medical treatment for all injured victims and the facilitation of compensation for the deceased family. Efforts being made by the government to search for and account for all the missing persons and livestock, including the status and timelines. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, nominated member Harun, you can joyride on that.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the matter. The KDF issue in our communities has become a serious crisis. Just last week, I brought a statement on the same where Abdullah Yusuf was killed by KDF in 2019. It took us a long process to even strip him of the military privilege to bring him to a civilian court. In 2023, I brought a statement where Sadiq Abdikadir was killed by KDF in Manda area. We equally have a crisis from the KWS who are in the communities, especially in Balambala area, Danyere. So we are wondering, on one side we have KDF, on another side we have the KWS. We are still dealing with Al-Shabaab. So I really request the committee to look into this matter because it's becoming a real problem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman, Committee on Foreign, Wapi Bashir. Yes, you are in that committee?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Bring a response first week after recess.
Much obliged.
Abdul Haro, Mandera South.
Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity regarding the status of representation of ethnic communities in the public service for the financial years 2022-23 and 2023-24. Honorable Speaker, the Public Service Commission is established under Article 233 of the Constitution to manage and oversight human resource in the public service. Its mandate under Article 234 includes, among others, to promote the values and principles of public service, including representation of Kenya's diverse communities and providing equal opportunities for appointment of the members of all ethnic groups. In 2024, the Commission developed the Draft Public Service Commission Affirmative Action Regulations with an aim to provide a framework for ensuring equitable representation of ethnic communities in the public service. Additionally, the Commission's framework for the implementation of values and principles in Articles 10 and 232 provides that public institutions should observe the principle of equitable representation of all ethnic communities in proportion to their share of the national population. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity on the following. A report on the national proportionate population share of each of the 46 ethnic communities, indicating communities whose representation in the public service is 1, proportionate to their national population share, 2, exceeds their proportionate share, 3, is below their proportionate share, and 4, not represented in the public service at all. B, authorized establishment indicating the in-post figures and the variance for each ministry and state department for the financial years 2022-23 and 2023-24. C, a report on staff employed by the Public Service Commission detailing designation, job scale, and ethnicity. D, a report of all appointments and promotions made in ministries, departments, and agencies for the financial years 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024, including ethnic representation, and E, status of the Draft Public Service Commission in bracket Affirmative Action Regulations 2024. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Harold. Chair, National Cohesion, Yusuf. You bring a response first week after recess. Thank you. Adan Kainan, Eldas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the progress made in tarmacking of the Wajir, Griftu, Eldas, Buna, Bute, Moyale, Ethiopia Road, that is A14, International Trunk Road managed by Kenya National Highways Authority, Kenya. Honorable Speaker, this road, the Wajir, Griftu, Eldas, Buna, Bute, Moyale, Ethiopia Road, is part of the A14 designated International Trunk Road, Mr. Speaker. And this A14 runs through northern Kenya, connecting Wajir to Moyale border, and also facilitates cross-border connection to Ethiopia for a distance of approximately 545 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, the Wajir Griftu Eldas Buna Bute Moyale Ethiopia Road has the potential to unlock the transformative potential, which includes reducing logistics costs for business, strengthening supply, and chain resilience, Mr. Speaker, and fostering regional development. Mr. Speaker, such strategic investment not only bridges isolated communities to a national and continental markets, but also positions northern Kenya as a gateway to the Pan-African trade, aligning with the vision of African continental free trade areas. Mr. Speaker, vision of seamless continental connectivity. Mr. Speaker, this road, the Ethiopian side, was done in 1974, and I'm sure you're aware of the history. Mr. Speaker, a robust road network serves as the backbone of the economic transformation, catalyzing trade expansion, border integration, and equitable regional development. Mr. Speaker, Ethiopia has reportedly successfully completed its section of the road connecting Moyale to Addis, transforming this critical border link into a powerful driver of regional integration. Mr. Speaker, the upgraded corridor now facilitates seamless trade and movement between Kenya and Ethiopia, significantly reducing transit times and cost. However, on the Kenya side, Mr. Speaker, tarmacking of the road from Wajir to Moyale is yet to be commenced. Mr. Speaker, the completion of this strategic road infrastructure will not only strengthen bilateral relations, but also unlock new opportunities for economic collaboration, fostering growth across the East African region and beyond. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. The current status of funding, planning, and implementation of the tarmacking of the Wajir, Griftu, Eldas, Buna, Bute, Moyale, Ethiopia Road, that is the A14 International Track Road managed by Kenya, including specific timelines for its commencement. B+2, Mr. Speaker, plans put in place to fund this project, particularly under the Horn of Africa Gateway Project or any other development initiatives, and details of the funding commitments, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, finally, also the measures put in place to fast track the tarmacking of this critical corridor to ensure its timely completion and maximize its economic and regional integration benefits. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. GK, Chair, Transport and Infrastructure.
Honorable Speaker, we avail a detailed response after the recess.
Within?
After the recess or 2 weeks, whichever comes earlier.
2 weeks after recess?
No. After recess,
yes,
we should be able to
within
respond.
the first week?
Within the first week, yes.
Okay. Yes, Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to raise a constitutional requirement on a bill that has been pending on this House. Article 113 of our Constitution clearly spells out that mediation committees should finish their job within 30 days, Mr. Speaker. The Gambling Control Bill, number 70 of 2023, Mr. Speaker, has been in abeyance since last year. Maybe you can help me to guide the majority and minority leaders to ensure that that mediation committee is either disbanded or is redone, Mr. Speaker, so that we deal with this gambling menace as it is.
Clerk, check out and give me a brief. Guna, I will give you a guidance tomorrow.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Password to Standing Order 44-2C. I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding the circumstances surrounding the delayed execution of service contract of Director General of the Kenya Fisheries Services. Honorable Speaker, the Fisheries Management and Development Act, Cap 378, provides for the appointment of DG of the Kenya Fisheries Services, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of the services. The current Director General was appointed in October 2020 for a period of 4 years, renewable once in line with the provision of the Act. The Kenya Fisheries Services Human Resource Policies and Procedure Manual and the Mwongozo and the Guidelines on the Terms and Conditions for State Corporations 2004. Under the applicable framework, a serving Director General wishing for renewal of contract is required to express interest of renewal by writing consideration to the chairman of the board at least 6 months prior to the expiry of the contract for the consideration and approval of the board. It is on this basis of this framework that Mr. Daniel Mugai, the Director General, sought renewal of his contract prior to the expiry of his first contract term. Honorable Speaker, it is believed that during the 26th ordinary session of the Kenya Fisheries Service Board meeting held on 12th of July 2024, the board made an anonymous decision to renew the contract of Mr. Daniel Mugai as the Director General of Kenya Fisheries Services for a second term. Surprisingly, despite the board having sought and received concurrence from the Minister of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs through the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who was then acting as the Cabinet Secretary, contract was never executed. Instead, Mr. Mugai was awarded an extension of a period of 6 months, raising concerns on the compliance with the board resolution. Honorable Speaker, it is in the above matters that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation on the following. 1, the circumstances surrounding the failure to execute renewal of the contract of Mr. Daniel Mugai as the Contractor General of the Kenya Fisheries Services, despite the approval of the board on 12 July 2024, and the jurisdiction for award of 6 months extension of the tenures. 2, steps taken to inform Mr. Mugai as the substantive Director General of the Kenya Fisheries Services, so as to ensure operational continuity of the services, including timelines. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Water, Blue Economy. Yes. Honorable, you are the Vice Chair. Yes, when can you bring the response?
Says so 2 weeks from now, whichever is earlier.
That's Kitayama.
Yes, this is Kitayama.
Yes.
Yours truly here.
Yes, within the first week
of resuming
of resumption.
from resumption.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, inquiry into irregular and illegal grant of tax exemptions to a company under the Special Operating Framework Agreement.
Mover to reply. I've been told by the chair that DK Kimayo is the one replying. Not DK, Kimayo of Keio South. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to reply. Mr. Speaker, this motion was about the irregular exemption of taxes. And I want to thank this House, those who contributed. I want to thank those in the committee on behalf of the chairman of the Committee on Delegated Legislation and the members. We say thank you, and we urge this House that tax exemption is a very bad precedent in this country, and we should punish those who don't pay taxes instead of encouraging those who don't pay taxes. This was a motion, Mr. Speaker, where a company was exempted from paying taxes. And you know where we are in this country at the moment, we're struggling to get taxes through KRA. And if we continue allowing people to not to pay taxes, we will struggle in getting money for development, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we should be discouraging as a House people who are exempted from paying taxes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I beg to reply.
I beg to reply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Members on their feet, take your seats. Members on the Kibagandi, take your seats. Ijara, take your seat. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, which is at this House. Order. Zambia. You think you are in the village of Kilome? What is Kasalu saying to you to? Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on the inquiry into irregular and illegal grant of tax exemptions to a company under the Special Operating Framework Agreement laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 26 September 2024. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, the Social Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025, second reading.
Majority Leader. Owen, are you the one moving?
Yeah. Yeah.
Owen Bayer.
Give me the order, Papa. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the Social Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025. Honorable Speaker, to be read for the second time, sorry. Honorable Speaker, the principal object of the bill is to reduce poverty and vulnerability and improve the well-being of the people by providing assistance, services, and programs that build human capital and cushion people against risks and contingencies throughout their cycle. Honorable Speaker, Part 1 of the bill provides for the preliminary matters such as the interpretation of terms used in the bill, objects, and the act, the application of the act and the guiding principles and the role of the county government in the provision of the social protection bill. Honorable Speaker, the bill provides for the establishment of the National Board of Social Protection and defines its composition, functions, powers, and its sources of funds. Some of the functions of the board include advising the Cabinet Secretary on matters relating to social protection, designing and implementing social protection intervention and programs, providing social assistance and social care to vulnerable persons, coordinating social protection interventions, establishing and maintaining a social protection registry, undertaking civic education on social protection, periodically undertaking indexation of social assistance benefits in collaboration with the National Treasury, and undertaking resource mobilization for social protection interventions. Honorable Speaker, there are very many people in this country that actually require social protection, but we do not have a law that anchors social protection in this country. They are the vulnerable people, the disabled people, and many other people, Honorable Speaker, that require assistance from government that protects them from the vagaries of the kind of life that they live in. But Honorable Speaker, we do not have. For example, the elderly, Honorable Speaker, we give stipend to them every month, but we don't have a law for that as a country. There are many disbursements that come from government, but we do not have a law that, see, this is an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to ensure we have a law in this country, a law that guides social protection. Honorable Speaker, one of the key things about this law is to provide a registry. Sometimes county government gives resources to this person, national government gives resources to that person, NGO gives resources to that person, but they leave many other people. Just a few people will benefit because they know how to go about the system. But Honorable Speaker, if we have a registry of those people that require social protection in this country, Honorable Speaker, we can take better care of them. Today, Honorable Speaker, a person gets funds for this month, he's able to afford food. But in the next 3 months, there's nothing that person gets. Honorable Speaker, we need to ring fence the people that require social protection in this country by ensuring we have a law. Honorable Speaker, one other very important aspect about this law is actually to go down to the grassroots. How do we develop a registry? We need officers to go out there and identify the people that are required that can actually be beneficiaries of the social protection funds that we give in this country. Honorable Speaker, last month we disbursed around 3.2 billion for the elderly. Yes, government disbursed 3.2 billion for the elderly, Honorable Speaker. And we were sent messages as members of parliament to ensure that this money gets there. But the criteria on how this is done, Honorable Speaker, is questionable. There's no laid down procedure on how to identify a person who should be a beneficiary of the social protection in this country, or the funds for the Wazee and many other funds that go out there from the government. And even when exchequer is released, Honorable Speaker, we ask this question, under what law has this been done? There are many people out there, donors, Honorable Speaker, that want to help people that are vulnerable in this country. But because of the lack of a proper law to guide the process, they are hesitant to assist this country in that. But this law, Honorable Speaker, the Social Protection Bill, will go a long way, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that we have a criteria, we have a system, we have a law, we have regulations that ensure that we take care of the vulnerable people well in this country. Honorable Speaker, Part 3 of the bill provides for the administration of social protection benefits. It outlines the categories of persons who may be granted social protection benefits, the types of social protection benefits offered under the Act, the eligibility criteria, and the procedures for applying for the benefits. Honorable Speaker, it also provides for reviews and appeals against the decisions of the board, the rights and obligations of beneficiaries, the consequences of abusing social protection benefits, and the circumstances under which social protection benefits may be terminated or refunds made to the board. This part also provides for the review of social protection benefits, the indexation of social protection benefits, and the establishment of a social protection registry, Honorable Speaker. And these are the key elements that are currently missing, Honorable Speaker, in disbursing resources to people that we need to ring fence as people who are under the social protection obligations of Honorable Speaker. So it is important to provide, Honorable Speaker, the eligibility criteria. Sometimes you go to the village, you see an old man that is 60 years that gets benefit. Another old man of 70 doesn't get. And yet that person requires more funds than any other person. So we ask ourselves, so what was the criteria that picked this one and left this one? Sometimes you see people who have retired. They have retired, but they have resources of funds. They have a pension. They have a farm. They have everything that supports their life. But they get actually the fund for Wazee. They get money, and yet a person who does not have a pension doesn't get that fund, Honorable Speaker. This is what we tend to cure in this bill, Honorable Speaker. But then one of the most important criteria, if you look at, one of the most important things that I look at this, Honorable Speaker, is the obligation and rights. Sometimes you see an old man who is given money from the Wazee Fund, but he doesn't even have the information. For a whole year, that money is not collected. And some other crooks, Honorable Speaker, actually pick the money and use it. And this is what we want to cure through this bill. Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, Honorable Speaker, and I want to prepare the Honorable Silvana Sosoro to second this bill. Part 4 of the bill provides for the offenses. The offenses created under this part include prohibition of obstruction, the prohibition of persons from giving false information, unlawful disclosures of information, fraud, and misappropriation of funds. Honorable Speaker, one of the things that we suffer from is misappropriation of funds. Sometimes this money is given, but a higher percentage is used for administration than the money that goes to the real vulnerable people. Honorable Speaker, there are other parts of this country that actually do not get this fund because data has not been collected. Honorable Speaker, this is a fund, this is a law that will help the people of Changamwe, every person in Changamwe who requires assistance to get the assistance, not the bourgeoisie that are there and yet they get assistance, Honorable Speaker. So this is an important law. I want to urge this parliament to support this law to ensure the people of Suba South, Suba North also benefit, Honorable Speaker, so that every Kenyan who is supposed to benefits, Honorable Speaker. I can see the Honorable Ben Sauda is happy with this law, Honorable Speaker, because it will help the people of Homa Bay to actually also be reached so that they say that Serikali has not reached them. Honorable Speaker, this is an important law. I want to urge everybody, including the people that come from the minority leaders' home, so that they also get social protection. So I want to urge everybody and every member that this is a law worth supporting, worth passing, and worth the name of this parliament. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Silvana Sosoro, the Honorable MP of Mugirango South, and Chief Whip of the National Assembly.
Sosoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I second this particular bill, one thing that should be very clear, and really when one grows or when one is growing, they hardly tell themselves that at some point you'll get old. That in your 30s, you have to know that there is a time you'll be 40, there's a time you'll be 50. Honorable Speaker, when I was a young man, an extremely young man, although you still call me young man, when I was 20, I used to look at people.
You are a very young man.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I agree. Honorable Speaker, when I was 20, the people who are 40 used to look very old to me. I didn't know that 40 was just next door to me, Honorable Speaker. And now that I'm also there, I look at people who are 60 as very old. I know soon I'll also be there. I do not know where to classify you, Honorable Speaker, but that is the reality of life. That at some point, people will get to 60, people will get to 70, people will get to 80. And it is the responsibility of government to take care of the elderly. It is the responsibility of a responsible and well-organized and well-structured government, Honorable Speaker, to take care of the people of such a majority age, Honorable Speaker. Because when you get to the age of 70, looking at the economic status of our country and the opportunities that are therein, Honorable Speaker, if the government does not step in to take care of such people, then challenges will happen. And that is why it is important to the issues of health, the universal health coverage, the issue of social protection are very, very vital, Honorable Speaker, as far as this question of the social protection is concerned. Because looking at the jurisdictions that have grown, that have matured, that are progressive, say, for example, the United States, Honorable Speaker, where there is even provision of funds specifically, and even specifically to take care of those old people, Honorable Speaker. They have clinics, they have people that are employed to manage and do all those kind of things, Honorable Speaker, and they pay that, Honorable Speaker. I don't know why the Honorable Assad is, I don't know why, Honorable Speaker, protect me from the Honorable. Speaker, protect
Honorable
me.
Hassan, you're out of order.
You can raise the point of information.
If the member on the floor is misleading the House, you know what to do. Go on.
The Honorable Speaker, I'll be guided by him because he really must have traveled. But what I'm saying is that in progressive countries, Honorable Speaker, in progressive jurisdictions, there are provisions for taking care of the elderly and the sick. And this is the culture that you really must develop here, because looking at the rate at which, of course, the mortality rate of this country, Honorable Speaker, the people who are perhaps in their post-50s tend not to live long because of lack of such provisions, Honorable Speaker, the social protection and such elements. So this bill comes in hand, Honorable Speaker, to create structures on who exactly is supposed to benefit, on the roles the board or the cabinet secretary, those responsible are going to, those responsible should be doing. So it really clears the way for the formation of a well-structured form or format to help in crafting and coming up with a very good structure of settling those people who are in the age of the majority. So, Honorable Speaker, with those very many remarks, I beg to second.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now propose the question at order number 9, which is the Social Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025, be now read a second time. Honorable members, I see a lot of names on the screen. They were there when we started. I don't know if they are for this bill. If you are not for this bill, log out. Yes, Janet.
Mr. Speaker, I stand up to raise the issue of quorum, Mr. Speaker. Whether we have quorum in the House, Mr. Speaker, to discuss this bill. Where is the number? What are you rebuking? What are you rebuking? What are you rebuking? What are you rebuking? No. There is no bill that will pass in this house going forward. No way. No. Embarrassing that we are crossing other bills. Ikifika hiyo ndio wanataka kuembarrass wewe that they are calling for quorum. When we reach that number,
yes,
that order is when they want to call for quorum.
Clerk, do we have quorum? Honorable members, we have 35 members. We need 50. Sergeant, ring the bell. And the whips, do your job. Are you ringing the bell? No, it's Junet.
Ndio nikuonyeshe kwenye And at that time, we saw that the House had quorum. However, means that the members one by one walked out. And now what we are seeing is that the numbers have significantly reduced. And remember, it is a House that considers and passes laws. So the numbers present need to be a good representation of the public. And that is why that particular quorum is important to the House or inside the chambers. The quorum bell is still on. However, you will recall before that hitch, the bill that was being considered or the business that was on the floor of the House was the Social Protection Bill, a bill sponsored by the leader of the majority party, and we had seen the deputy leader of the majority party, Honorable Owen Bayer, moving that bill, and it was seconded by the majority whip, Honorable Sylvana Sosoro. The Social Protection Bill is a bill that seeks to address existing gaps in the social protection sector, to provide for a comprehensive framework for social protection, to make provision for and regulate the administration of social assistance, and also to establish the National Board for Social Protection. The Speaker is addressing the House. Allow me to hand you over.
Leadership to come to my office in the next 3-4 minutes so that we can consult Bayer, Janet, and your team. Honorable members, due to a quorum hitch, the House now stands adjourned until tomorrow, the 23rd of April, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Our next conversation is going to be all about smiles. James Mulamba is a youth leader and he calls himself a revolutionary as well. And he said, but they, you know, this thing of having people, mtu anaingia bunge akiwa 20, anatoka bunge akiwa 82. No, we've got to put an end to it. Put an end to that. And he says, let's go and amend the constitution so we can fix it. James Mulamba is here. He's our guest. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Eric.
Karibu sana. This is where we fix the nation one conversation at a time. Of course, you've given us the apology for being late, but tell the fixers. Tell them you're sorry for being late.
Eric. Well, to the entire nation, I have to apologize for being late. Well, there were situations not in my control, but I have tried my best.
Karibu.
Yeah.
I'm sure. We have to do this because if we are fixing the nation, we've got to fix discipline.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Of being here on time. Now, you say that we need to fix how we elect people and how long they stay in one elective office.
Yeah.
And you wanted us to give you the mic.
Yeah.
James Mulamba, shika mic.
So I would start with a case in point. when President Moi imposed the ban on political parties and insisted on ruling us for 24 years, we saw no meaningful change. So ruling for many years does not equate, or is not commensurate to performance. So we need to curb this habit of having politicians, especially the legislators, who overstay in parliament and they overstay their usefulness. Some of the MPs we have today and some senators have outlived their usefulness. They should vacate these spaces for younger people. So in my presentation today, I would be tackling this issue because I think it's a pandemic that we've overlooked for a very long time. I propose that we introduce a constitutional amendment that will set a limit for the terms of the MPs and the senators, as well as the women representatives, to strictly 2 terms. That is working for the presidency and it is working for the governor's position. It should as well work for the legislators. This will prevent the monopoly that has been in this political landscape of Kenya and encourage the renewal of leadership that brings fresher perspectives and fresher ideas. It will break the cycle of patronage of politics that we've had in Kenya for a long time, that has been enabled by the current political parties that have been businesses of certain families and certain individuals who have vested interest in governance. It will create an ample space for the youth and the women and those that have been marginalized for a long time to rise up and take up these positions when the incumbents leave office, because after 2 terms, they will not be qualified to vie again for any other legislative position. It will reduce the entrenchment of corruption and the misuse of public office over time, because most of these MPs and senators know that they will secure another term because they have understood how the Kenyan electorate is, because most of our electorate are credulous and they are bought off with cheap cents. So that MP, that senator, that women rep knows that she will get back to that office and she's going to defend the malfeasance of she's enabled in the 5 or the 10 years. Say, for example, the women reps have been mismanaging the NGAF fund, the MPs have been mismanaging the CDF, and they know they are not going to be indicted for this because they are going to secure a re-election over time. We can implement this by amending the Constitution, particularly Article 97, Article 98, and Article 103, that in conjunction with the Elections Act, to ensure that we standardize the term limits for all elective positions in Kenya. These regulations can be enforced by the IBC, and I think they will take precedences from the next election, not this one. But then something must be done before we get to the next election. We cannot have the same perennial problem all through and all through. There are several supporting cases to this, that one, Kenya, as an example, has term limits for the presidency and for the governor's position. So it was only a matter of time before we caught up with the legislators. This was also applied in the United States in that it has term limits for the governor's position and for the presidency. This has also been replicated in South Korea. By the way, South Korea impeached their president the other day, and we wish that was Kenya, because we've been unable to take out our president constitutionally. We have a parliament that has been captured by the presidency. South Korea and Mexico also limit legislative terms to promote turnover and fresh leadership in their countries.
James.
Drops the mic.
There you go, James. There you go. He's a revolutionary.
Well done. No, I'm really happy. I hear you. I was flowing with you, and I was trying to see, okay, where do they attack this from, right?
Okay.
Number one, we already hold elections every 5 years. So why not just use that as the obvious route to fagia? Because we will be at the ballot in 2027 and then in 2032 and so on and so forth. So someone will say, why do you need to scrap the term limits? When people are tired of someone, they'll just vote them out.
This was the situation in the 90s and in the 80s when we was struggling to remove Moi from office. I will use him as an example quite often in this discussion. And we were unable to vote him out of the ballot. And whatever Moi was doing in the 90s and in the 80s to retain power is the same thing the legislators are doing. They ensure they get to the voters, they ensure they manipulate the voters and manipulate the votes. We have MPs in this country who get to power by bribing voters and by stealing elections. It is what it is. We have an election cycle that is always marred with election irregularities every 5 years. It has never been a clean slate for us. So we are never going to vote these guys out. If Ruto had a term that was renewable into the future, say a term that goes into perpetuity, we would never vote him out, because he knows how to manipulate the system and he knows how to get himself into power. Some of these guys are Kanu orphans and they've been inducted into how politics is run in the old way. We may have a chance. Yes, there's a possibility that we may have a chance to vote them out because some have been voted out, but we still have a percentage that has been retained overall. And it's shocking that it is somewhere between 60 to 100 MPs. They are retained every 5 years. Some have served their 7th term. For example, the Elders MP, Adan Kenan, is serving his 7th term. And we have other MPs here who've served 6 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms. Let me go through the list briefly. We have in the 10th Parliament, 58 out of 222 MPs retained their seats. I have omitted the nominated ones, but I will feature them in. Bondo MP, Dr. Oburu Odinga, was the longest serving MP. He had served for 5 terms consecutively. Is he still the MP? I think he's still the MP.
He's a senator.
Senator
He's
now.
a senator now. In the 11th Parliament, the same pattern continues, with Aden Kenan becoming the longest serving MP. In the 12th Parliament, the pattern continues, the pattern of incumbency, with 97 out of 349 MPs serving for more than 2 terms. That is close to 30% of the current, of the parliament of
the 12th Parliament.
Yes, 2017 to 2022. In the 13th Parliament, Adan Kenan is serving his 7th term. Benjamin Langat is serving his, I don't know if it's 4th term. He started his tenure from 2008 to today. Mishimboko served 2 terms. Omar Mwinyi served from 2013 to today. Millie Odhiambo served from 2007 to today. Samuel Moroto of Kapenguria has served from 2001 to today. He has served since Moi's time. You have seen Moi's presidency, Kibaki's presidency, Uhuru's presidency, and now Ruto's, and possibly the excess president, the next president, because it won't be Ruto. Oscar Sudi has served from 2013 to today, same as Junet Mohammed, and the list goes.
Do you think reducing MPs' term limits would demotivate them or motivate them? If they now know, because some people might be like, I only have 2 terms, let me just. Others feel like maybe they come into their own in the 4th term or the 4th time that they're serving. What do you think this could do to help shape their motivation and their need to do what they need to do within the time they have?
An inutile and an incompetent legislator will not help this country in any way, even if they serve 30 years. We have first-time MPs who've done exemplary for themselves, the likes of Peter Salasi, and the list goes on. We have MPs who've served their 2 terms, and we can see their workmanship. We can see what Ndindi Nyoro has done. We can see what Babu Wino has done. But I cannot say the same for Aden Kenan. I cannot say the same for Samuel. His name is Moroto.
Yeah,
who's
their
served from
constituents
2001.
would have some different things to say.
Let me use an example.
The people of Elders, for
Badgalmili.
example, would say that the reason why we bring him back is because we feel that he's doing the job we send him there to do. He represents us very well. And that's why we keep electing him.
Same to the people, to the constituents of Badgalmili, Suba North, yes. They consistently do rank her very highly. She'll tell you, I'm serving my 4th term because I've been doing a great job for 4 terms.
The percentage of MPs who are doing a good job, who have served consecutive terms, is below 10%. I cannot disagree that there are MPs who've done quite exemplary for themselves, the likes of Millie Odhiambo, probably Aden Kenan, but most of these MPs who are re-elected over time have not done us any good. Look at
So
Oscar
why do
Sudi.
people vote them back?
They are voted back because of the CDF. If you scrap the CDF, most of these MPs will never be re-elected.
So they're doing a good job with the CDF.
With the CDF, possibly.
That means that they're doing a good job according to their constituents.
But the CDF is not the only parameter to measure how good an MP performs. Their work is to represent, legislate, and oversight.
Okay.
The CDF is just an additive.
James, I think then let's look at what's the principle here. The principle of introducing term limits in the executive offices was so that this person then does not go and misuse the executive power to stay in office against the benefit of the people. The principle in the legislative seats is that the people are choosing someone to go and represent them. And you do not want to deny the people an opportunity to be represented by the best person that there is in that community. There's an election, it's open, there's qualification and disqualification for members of parliament. Article 99 of the Constitution talks about qualifications and disqualifications. You qualify to be an MP if you are a registered voter, if you satisfy the educational, moral, ethical requirements prescribed by the Constitution, moral and ethical, underline. If you are nominated, if you belong to a political party, you have won the nomination ticket, if you're an independent candidate, you're supported by the case of election to the National Assembly by at least 1,000 registered voters in the constituency that have basically said, yes, go in as an independent. In the case of the senator, at least 2,000 registered voters in the county, right? You are disqualified from being an MP if you have served as a state officer or other public officer other than a member of parliament previously.
Yeah.
If in the last 5 years, at any time you served in the IEBC, you cannot vie in this election. If you have not been a citizen of Kenya for at least 10 years immediately before this election, if you are a member of a county assembly, you can't be an MCA and an MP. Okay. If you're of an unsound mind, okay, basically just go and say, I'm not a madman.
Yeah.
Mimi si wazimu.
The same thing the president is saying.
If you are undischarged bankrupt, if you're subject of a sentence or imprisonment of 6 months and so on and so forth. So you're saying that we introduce one other line here and say, if you've served as a member of parliament or in that seat for 2 terms,
you are disqualified.
You're disqualified. Yeah. Now, the principle I was saying is to allow the people the opportunity to elect their chosen representative. By doing this, would you be denying the people their right to elect a leader of their choice?
The current leaders that we have are not leaders of the choice of the people. They are leaders that are pushed onto the people by the political establishment that we have. We have political parties that would never grant nomination tickets to young people and to the marginalized and to young women in this country, because we don't have the money to buy those nomination tickets. A nomination ticket goes for somewhere between 200 to 500,000 shillings. And beyond and above that, the families that own these political parties, because they are owned by families, still need you to chunk out something underhand to these families so that they can consider you. And possibly if you don't have the money, you have to befriend the owner of the party or his close friends. And that is how it has been hard for younger people and for the women in this country to gain these elective positions. Most of the young people and women in this country get into nominated positions, not elective positions. Why? Why did we introduce the women rep position? Because the women in this country and the young ladies in this country could not get themselves to the MP seat. So we introduced an affirmative action to facilitate and to fast track and expedite the election of women into these positions. If it was smooth sailing, we would not have the women rep position. If it was smooth sailing, we would have more independent candidates elected in this country. But Kenyans have a fixated mindset that you have to be in a certain political party. If you are in Western Province, it has to be ODM. I know we don't use provinces nowadays, but I still refer to them as provinces.
We all know them as that.
If you are in Nyanza, it's ODM. If currently you are in Central, it has to be UDA. It was formerly Jubilee. If you are in the Eastern region, it has to be the Wiper Party. And these parties have given us wrong candidates overally all through the years. Say, for example, in my own constituency, Kitui West, where I come from, we've had one family serving the MP in the MP position for, I say, 1997 to today, how many years? 27 years? So are you telling us that is the only competent family? That is the only eligible family? So it started with the husband.
Do people elect the family? Yeah, they do
because
they elect the individual.
they elect the party and not the individual.
And the party gives the ticket to a member of this family.
Of course. So this is what happened. The first MP was for that region to initiate this incumbency was Francis Nyenze, the late. May his soul rest in peace. He succumbed to cancer in 2017, but he served as an MP from 1997 to 2017. When he passed on, due to the current sympathy and whatever goes on with politics, people decided to vote in his wife, the current MP, who is Madam Edith Nyenze. So she served 2 terms now, and she's very interested in serving a 3rd term. And she's not even young. I think she's in her 70s or late 60s. She's interested in a 3rd term, in a 4th term, in a 5th term, and she does not care that there are younger people and there are more brilliant people out here who have better perspectives and who want to serve in that position. She's not mentored anyone, and she's not interested in relinquishing that seat to anyone else. So she's willing to buy that party ticket perennially from 1 year to another, from one election cycle to another. Can we have that going forward?
Let me read some feedback on YouTube. You'll see if you can react. Plano says term limits isn't an issue. It should be about performance based on KPI metrics, quality over quantity. Since some MPs are performing well, so just hold that. Somebody else here says, what are the parameters for disqualifying the president and governors for running for 2 terms? From this point of view, we apply to other elective seats. And then finally, somebody else has talked about Sophia Mugure. Do you think to some extent the citizens are the problem? So just some reflections from our community of fixers.
Because essentially, if these people are not working, to Eric's question, why are we voting them
The people
back
should
in?
not vote for them.
Yeah.
If the people in your constituency, James, are voting for members of the same family, they're happy.
They are not.
So then
why are they voting for them?
Because of that ticket, I've told you, we've zoned out Kenya. We've balkanized Kenya into political parties.
Yeah.
We've never had a national political party. The ODM pretends to be a national political party. It is not. Same as the UDA party. The UDA party sold in the central region and in the Rift Valley region. Yes, it has some outlier effect in some other regions, but it's mainly a party for those 2 regions. The Wiper party has been constrained in the eastern region for a very long time. It has a few outlier effects in Kisii and say some few MPs pale western, but most of its MPs and governors wako hapa eastern. Wewe kama hujapewa party ticket ya Wiper, forget about that seat. I'm going for an elective seat in Kitui County. And I know if I don't have the Wiper party ticket, I have almost 0 chances. I have to rely on my wit and my ability to charm the voters.
Governor
And possibly
Malombe
vie
is
as
a
an
Wiper?
independent candidate. Yes, he is.
Okay.
There have been MPs who come from Mukambani who have been voted as independents. There was one in Makueni County, was an independent. We have seen Maendeleo Chap has produced MPs. We have seen. So the people elect the person. They don't elect a party. And even for the party, if the party knows that you are not popular, James, you will not get the ticket. What happens? Party primaries. And even beyond party primaries, even where it's a boardroom decision, the guys in the boardroom will look, lakini tukipatia James chama tuta lose.
If I tell you the underhand deals that happen in these political parties, you'll be shocked. Before Governor Malombe got his ticket in 2013, that ticket was supposed to go to the former Senator David Musila, who was more popular back then. David Musila has always emerged as the second contestant. What is it called? He's always emerged number 2. That tells you he's popular enough. And he gets to number 2 because he does not have the Wiper ticket. In fact, he just retired the other day after he realized Kalonzo is not going to give me the Wiper ticket. And they are the co-founders of Wiper. The same scenario is with Senator Muthama. Senator Muthama probably was interested in becoming the governor for Machakos. And imagine he's a co-founder, but he was not handed the Wiper ticket. The only candidate who's gotten a Wiper ticket, clean slate, is Senator Enoch Kiyo in 2013 and in 2017. And it is because in both instances, he did not have a contender. He was the only guy interested in becoming senator using the Wiper ticket. There were no nominations in 2013 and 2017.
People vote for the Wiper ticket. Senior.
People vote for the party, not the candidate.
So answering this question, do you think to some extent the citizenry is the problem?
Yes,
Moguri is asking.
the citizenry is the problem. That is why we need to do more civic engagement and more civic education. We need to tell people, and we need to tell them boldly, that the political party does not matter. It does not matter if I vie on an ODM ticket or not. It doesn't matter if I vie on a UDA ticket or on a Wiper ticket. If I am a good candidate, if I am outspoken, if I'm articulate, and if I have ideologies, I deserve a chance. I deserve a shot at it. It doesn't matter if I'm young or old, because some of these parties still consider these metrics. Look at the ODM party, the UDA party, and the Wiper party. I'm not apportioning any blame to any of them, but just look at their composition. How many of the MPs are young? How many of the MPs are women? How many of the MPs come from the marginalized areas and communities, even including the leadership of the party itself? How many?
James, quick question. If we don't get this civic education thing right, let's say we do go and amend the constitution, term limits 2 and you're out, and we still vote along party lines, it'll just be the party person for 2 terms, then the party person for the next 2 terms, then the party person for the next 2 terms. We haven't essentially fixed the problem.
That's why we need to get civic education right. But we must start from somewhere. We must start with the term limits.
Which one comes before? Which chicken egg, James? Chicken egg. Because if we amend the constitution before the education happens, then yeah, it'll just be that we elect the same people from the same parties, and then that person serves 2 terms. Then another person comes from the same party, another 2 terms.
Same family.
Yeah, same family.
The chicken egg conundrum has existed for millennia, and there has never been a solution to it. But I think we should start with the civic education, so that now that people understand where the problem is and they understand what should be done to solve the problem, then now we can go into the next election and the election after that with a fresher perspective, with a sharper mind, and with a clarity that starts with the electorate knowing what they should want, because the electorate has to be told what they should want, what they should expect, and they should stop taking the bare minimums that we have right now. The electorate deserves better. And I think they have forgotten this because they have been inundated with bad candidates over and over and over again. So they think it's normal. They have normalized it. They should get beyond that, above and beyond that. If we had normalized the gender imbalance and the gender parity that we have, we would never have gotten to the point that we have here. We wouldn't have the 2/3 gender rule. We wouldn't have women representatives in parliament. And by the way, it pains me when I hear some, I don't know, disillusioned Kenyans say that we should scrap the women rep position because some of the women reps are not performing. That is not the problem. The problem is not the women rep position itself. The problem is the person holding the women rep position. We need to get beyond that. We can't scrap the women rep position because the ones holding the women rep position are not performing. It is like saying we should scrap the presidency position because the president is not working. Why will we be taking this country?
You know?
Hey, James, you have put your point across quite well. You can read in the comment from Sakina.
Sakina, right. I like what Sakina Latif says. The young lad has good points, but remember that even after civic education is started, tribalism is still used to conquer and divide people. Maybe his point is also civic education should go deeper into how to not vote along tribal lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you very much for joining us today, for coming and putting the case across. James Mulamba, asante sana. You say you're a revolutionary.
Yeah.
And you want to be elected for 2 terms only.
Yeah, 2 terms
in your constituency.
No, you misconstrued this. I don't want to be elected as MP. They will conflate this for a campaign agenda. So I am fighting the current MP because I want to be an MP in that region. I do not want to be an MP in that region. I'm just stating facts as they are. We need to give more people more opportunities.
You're a fixer. And we celebrate you for that. Our next conversation is about promoting ethical values and integrity. And we're joined by Professor Timothy Kiruhi. Let's discuss and debate ethics. It's coming here very strongly. Coming up next. Good morning. The Mwananchi budget, the priorities in the next financial year's budget, 2025-2026. The budget policy statement that went through Parliament and was adopted by Parliament was looking at the priority areas that the government wants to focus on in the next year. And like we were told in the kind of civic education that we were given by Kuria Kimani, the chair of the Finance Committee. After that, the next thing that we expect to come to Parliament is 2 pieces of documents. One is the estimates of the budget, which now goes into budget line by line and say, with this broad focus, this is where the money is going and how this is where we're going to spend 4.2 trillion shillings. And then they'll also come in with a finance bill and say, we target to raise an extra X amount of money. And this is what we need to do. We want to make a couple of changes here and there in various laws, and that will be the finance bill. So finance bill is usually an omnibus bill that is tinkering with various pieces of legislation to head towards that new target of revenue collection. Now, to help us understand more on this, Bernard Njiri, who is a senior research analyst at the Institute of Public Finance, is our guest. Bernard, good morning.
Morning, Latif.
Karibu sana to Fixing the Nation. Yeah, I know that last week, IPF, you had an event where you're looking at the budget and saying, we have come up with a shadow budget, a budget that is more Mwananchi-centric, and that is looking at where we should be spending our money. That's what we want you to tell us. This is the event where Ndende Nyoro was speaking last week. And alikuwa anafungua roho akisema, by the way, wacheni waambie. By the way.
Even ndio kunaendanga.
Bernard, at least you've interacted with our budgets before. You've looked at our budget policy statement. You've looked at what Parliament is thinking. So you'll take us through that. But before that, Jano, the day's quote.
Jana kona quote. We're marking the passing of Pope Francis today, so we thought it was only fitting to have a Pope that reflects that, a quote that reflects what the Pope said. We all have the duty to do good. That's the quote today. We all have the duty to do good. He delivered it sometime in 2013 during a homily, or otherwise known as a shorter sermon, so to speak. So he said we all have a duty to do good. What do you make of that? What's your duty to do good?
Thank you. I think as a citizen, my duty to do good is to make sure that we have a budget that is serving the people. And I love that Latif has talked about Mwananchi budget. And our conversation today will be focused on the budget. And then we ask ourselves whether our political class is doing good. Yeah.
It's important. Mwananchi budget.
There's something that was said in that event. In terms of fiscal constraints, the response